The story begins with Harry Potter spending his summer vacation at the Dursleys' house. His uncle Vernon warns him very strictly that tonight is an important night because some special guests are visiting, and Harry must stay in his room without making any noise or causing any trouble. Harry quietly goes up to his room, but to his surprise he finds a strange little creature waiting for him. The creature introduces himself as Dobby, a house elf. Dobby is nervous and emotional, bowing and stammering, and then he warns Harry that he must not return to Hogwarts this year. He says terrible things are planned, and if Harry goes back to school, he will be in grave danger. Harry is shocked and asks what exactly the danger is, but Dobby refuses to explain. He only insists that Harry must not go back under any circumstances. Harry tells him that Hogwarts is the only place where he feels at home, and no matter what Dobby says, he will definitely return. Dobby becomes desperate. To stop him, Dobby uses his magic to cause a disaster downstairs during the Dursleys' dinner party. A pudding dessert comes crashing down on the head of Uncle Vernon's important guests. The Dursleys are humiliated and furious. Convinced that Harry is responsible, they lock him inside his room, bolt the door, and even place iron bars across his window to ensure he cannot escape or go anywhere. Harry feels trapped and hopeless. But one night, Ron Weasley suddenly appears outside his window in a flying car with his twin brothers Fred and George. They break open the bars and rescue Harry, pulling him into the enchanted car. They fly him back to the Burrow, the Weasley family home. There Harry is warmly welcomed by Ron's mother Molly, his father Arthur, and his siblings, though Molly scolds Ron and his brothers for stealing the family car. Soon Harry enjoys the comfort of the Weasley household and feels happy again. Together with Ron and his family, he later goes to Diagon Alley to shop for school supplies. At the magical bookstore Flourish and Blots, they encounter the famous new defense against the dark arts teacher, Gilderoy Lockhart, who is signing his books and basking in the attention of fans. Lockhart seizes the chance to pose for photos with Harry, grabbing him publicly and announcing that Harry Potter and Gilderoy Lockhart will be together in the coming year. The Weasleys also meet Lucius Malfoy and his son Draco. Lucius mocks the poverty of the Weasley family and sneers at their second-hand belongings. He also notices Ginny Weasley, Ron's younger sister, who has just received her Hogwarts letter. As Arthur and Lucius exchange sharp words, Lucius secretly slips an old diary into Ginny's cauldron among her school books. None of them notice this at the time. When summer ends, the Weasleys and Harry prepare to travel to Hogwarts. At King's Cross Station, the family walks one by one through the magical barrier onto platform 9 3/4. But when Harry and Ron try, the barrier mysteriously closes, and they crash into it, unable to pass through. Panicked, they find themselves stranded as the train departs. Desperate not to miss school, Ron decides they should use the flying car to get there. They set off into the sky, flying the car all the way toward Hogwarts. The trip is rough and dangerous, with the car losing power. They eventually crash land into the Whomping Willow, a violent magical tree that thrashes and smashes the car badly. They barely escape and stumble into the castle. Professor Snape catches them and threatens to have them expelled for breaking rules, but Professor McGonagall and Headmaster Dumbledore decide to let them off with severe warnings instead. Classes begin at Hogwarts. Lockhart, now their new defense against the dark arts professor, is vain and incompetent. During one class, he sets loose a swarm of mischievous Cornish pixies, but when chaos breaks out, he proves unable to handle them and flees, leaving the students to clean up the mess. Hermione, quick thinking as always, manages to immobilize the pixies with a spell, saving the situation. Strange events begin happening in the school. One night Harry hears a mysterious chilling voice echoing through the corridors. The voice whispers about killing and blood, but only Harry can hear it. Ron and Hermione cannot hear the voice at all. Following the sound, Harry discovers a terrifying sight. Caretaker Argus Filch's cat, Mrs. Norris, is hanging stiff and petrified from a torch bracket. On the wall, glowing words have been written in blood. The Chamber of Secrets has been opened. Enemies of the air, beware. Students gather in fear and confusion, whispering about an ancient legend. Many begin to suspect Harry because he was found at the scene. Later, in a staff meeting, Professor McGonagall explains the legend to the students. She tells them that Hogwarts was founded over 1,000 years ago by 4 great wizards and witches: Godric Gryffindor, Helga Hufflepuff, Rowena Ravenclaw, and Salazar Slytherin. Slytherin, however, believed only pureblood witches and wizards should be admitted to Hogwarts, not those from non-magical families, known as Muggleborns. When the others disagreed, he left the school but, according to legend, he secretly built a hidden chamber deep underground. Only his true heir would be able to open it and unleash the monster inside to purge the school of Muggleborn students. The chamber became known as the Chamber of Secrets. Though the school has been searched many times, the chamber has never been found. Soon more attacks occur. Harry, Ron, and Hermione are determined to find out who is responsible. During a dueling club demonstration led by Professor Lockhart, Harry finds himself dueling against Draco Malfoy. Draco conjures a snake, which slithers toward another student menacingly. To everyone's shock, Harry speaks to the snake in Parseltongue, the language of serpents, and makes it back down. The other students are horrified, as Parseltongue is rare and strongly associated with dark wizards, especially Salazar Slytherin himself. Rumors spread quickly that Harry must be the heir of Slytherin. Harry is deeply troubled and confused, unsure why he has this ability. Determined to discover the truth, the trio brew Polyjuice Potion, allowing them to disguise themselves as Draco Malfoy's friends Crabbe and Goyle. They sneak into the Slytherin common room and question Draco. He brags that the Chamber of Secrets was opened before, 50 years ago, and a girl was killed. He claims he doesn't know who the heir is, but insists it isn't him. This confirms Draco is not responsible, but it raises more questions about who could be opening the chamber now. In their investigation, they encounter Moaning Myrtle, the ghost of a girl who haunts a bathroom. She explains she died in that very bathroom years ago, after seeing a pair of giant yellow eyes. Near her toilet they discover a strange diary, completely blank inside, with the name Tom Marvolo Riddle inscribed on the cover. Harry becomes fascinated by the diary. When he writes in it, the diary writes back. The spirit of Tom Riddle communicates with him through the pages. Riddle reveals he was once a student at Hogwarts, and he shows Harry a memory from 50 years earlier. In the vision, Riddle accuses Hagrid of opening the Chamber of Secrets and unleashing a monster. A giant spider escapes from Hagrid's box, and the staff assumes Hagrid is guilty. Harry returns from the vision disturbed, wondering if Riddle was telling the truth, and if Hagrid was responsible for the attacks all those years. But before he can think further, the diary suddenly disappears from Harry's belongings. Someone has stolen it. Soon after, there is another attack, and this time Hermione is petrified. Harry and Ron are devastated, but they find a clue in Hermione's frozen hand. She clutches a piece of paper torn from a library book describing the basilisk, a giant serpent that can live for centuries. Its gaze is fatal, killing anyone who looks directly into its eyes. However, Hermione's note reveals that the victims were not killed, but only petrified because none of them looked at the creature directly. They all saw it through reflections or indirect views. Harry realizes the monster of the chamber is indeed a basilisk, and that it must be moving around the castle through the plumbing pipes. This explains why Harry, a Parselmouth, can hear its voice while no one else can. Soon a chilling new message is found on the walls. Her skeleton will lie in the chamber forever. Ginny Weasley has been taken into the Chamber of Secrets. Panic spreads through the school, and the teachers despair. Harry and Ron resolve to rescue her. They corner Lockhart, who has been boasting about his exploits, and force him to accompany them to the bathroom, haunted by Moaning Myrtle. There they question her again, and she admits she was killed when she saw a pair of terrifying yellow eyes near a sink. The sink has a snake symbol carved on it. Harry speaks Parseltongue, and the sink magically opens, revealing a hidden passage leading deep underground. The scene moves forward after Harry and Ron have discovered the grim reality of the Chamber of Secrets being opened once again. They begin piecing together every clue, trying to understand the connections. Their suspicion points toward Draco Malfoy, believing he might be the heir of Slytherin. To uncover the truth, they prepare the Polyjuice Potion with Hermione's help in the girls' bathroom, which has become haunted by Moaning Myrtle. Hermione, Ron, and Harry gather the stolen ingredients and work tirelessly for weeks. When the potion is ready, Harry and Ron transform into Crabbe and Goyle, Malfoy's close companions, while Hermione attempts to change into another student but mistakenly uses a cat hair, resulting in her growing fur and ears, forcing her to remain hidden in the bathroom. Harry and Ron, disguised as Draco's friends, confront Malfoy in the Slytherin common room. Draco boasts about his family's pureblood heritage and hatred for Muggleborns, but reveals he is not the heir of Slytherin, as he himself does not know the identity of the person responsible for the attacks. Although disappointed, Harry and Ron realize Draco is innocent. They sneak back out, transforming to their normal selves. Hermione, ashamed of her partial transformation, hides in the infirmary for weeks. The school becomes even more tense as more attacks occur. Colin Creevey, Justin Finch-Fletchley, and even nearly headless Nick fall victim to the mysterious petrification. The legend of the monster in the chamber spreads fear. Students whisper about Harry himself being the heir after his ability to speak Parseltongue is revealed during a dueling club organized by Professor Lockhart. During the duel with Draco Malfoy, Draco conjures a snake, which Harry instinctively speaks to in Parseltongue to calm it down. The students are horrified, believing him to be connected to Salazar Slytherin, since the gift of snake talking is rare and dark. Even Ron and Hermione look troubled. Harry feels isolated, doubting his own identity. As time passes, Harry begins hearing the voice of the monster more often. The disembodied whispers grow louder, more dangerous, threatening to kill. One day, he and Ron follow the sound through the halls until they discover a message scrawled in blood. Her skeleton will lie in the chamber forever. Alongside the message, they find that Ginny Weasley has been taken inside the chamber. Panic spreads across the school. Professors gather in urgency, and Dumbledore is suddenly removed from Hogwarts by the school governors under Lucius Malfoy's influence, leaving the school vulnerable. Harry and Ron, determined to save Ginny, confront Professor Lockhart, who is ordered to go into the chamber. To their shock, Lockhart reveals himself to be a fraud who has never performed any of the heroic deeds he boasts of. Instead, he stole others' stories and erased their memories. He attempts to escape, but Harry and Ron force him to accompany them into the chamber through the entrance hidden in Moaning Myrtle's bathroom. Myrtle tells them how she died in the bathroom years ago, killed by the monster after seeing a pair of large eyes. They realize this was the first victim of the chamber. Harry, Ron, and Lockhart enter the hidden passage. Deep underground, they face a series of tunnels filled with bones and darkness. Lockhart seizes Ron's broken wand and tries to cast a memory charm to erase their memories, but the spell backfires, blasting part of the tunnel and causing rocks to fall, separating Ron and Harry from each other. Harry moves forward alone into the deepest part of the chamber. Inside, Harry finds the vast underground chamber adorned with stone pillars carved with serpents. At the far end lies a giant statue of Salazar Slytherin. On the ground, Ginny Weasley lies unconscious and pale. Kneeling beside her is a teenage boy who introduces himself as Tom Riddle. Harry is confused, recognizing the name from the diary he had found earlier. Slowly, Riddle explains that he is a memory preserved in the diary, a piece of himself from 50 years ago. He manipulated Ginny, feeding off her fears and secrets until she grew weaker. Through her, he unleashed the monster and reopened the chamber. Riddle reveals his true identity by rearranging the letters of his name. Tom Marvolo Riddle becomes, I am Lord Voldemort. Harry realizes that Ginny's life is fading, because Riddle is using her energy to return to life. When Harry demands that Riddle stop, Riddle calls forth the monster of the chamber, the Basilisk, a gigantic serpent with venomous fangs and deadly eyes. The enormous snake emerges from the shadows, hissing menacingly. At that moment, help comes from Fawkes, Dumbledore's loyal phoenix, who arrives carrying the Sorting Hat. The phoenix blinds the basilisk by attacking its eyes, leaving it weakened but still deadly. Harry, desperate, reaches into the Sorting Hat and miraculously pulls out the sword of Gryffindor. Armed with the gleaming blade, Harry faces the monstrous serpent in a fierce battle. The basilisk thrashes violently, smashing pillars and lunging to strike Harry. Narrowly avoiding its strikes, Harry eventually plunges the sword deep into the serpent's mouth, piercing its brain. The basilisk collapses with a thunderous crash, but not before one of its venomous fangs sinks into Harry's arm. Poison spreads quickly through Harry's veins, weakening him. As he collapses beside Ginny, near death, Riddle laughs, declaring victory. But Fawkes, the phoenix, flies down and sheds healing tears onto Harry's wound. The poison is cleansed, saving his life. With renewed strength, Harry grabs one of the basilisk's fangs and stabs the diary. Ink pours out violently as Riddle screams, fading into nothingness. The diary is destroyed and Ginny awakens, freed from his control. Harry, Ginny, Ron, and the dazed Lockhart eventually escape from the chamber. They are greeted with relief at the school. Dumbledore returns after Lucius Malfoy's schemes collapse, and he commends Harry for his bravery. Dumbledore explains the truth about Voldemort's diary, hinting at the darker powers that Voldemort has begun to explore. Harry worries about his Parseltongue ability, but Dumbledore reassures him, reminding him that it is choices, not abilities, that define a person. Lucius Malfoy confronts Dumbledore angrily, accompanied by his house elf, Dobby. Harry realizes that Dobby had been trying to warn him about the dangers all along. Seizing the opportunity, Harry tricks Lucius into freeing Dobby by giving him a sock hidden inside the diary. Furious, Lucius attempts to curse Harry, but Dobby protects him. Finally free, Dobby thanks Harry tearfully. The school year ends with celebrations. The petrified students are revived, Hagrid is released from Azkaban, and the Great Hall bursts into cheers. Gryffindor House rejoices, and Hogwarts feels alive again. Harry has once again faced Voldemort and survived, proving his courage and loyalty to his friends. The scene closes with laughter, feasting, and the promise of another year at Hogwarts filled with both wonder and danger.